Welcome, everybody, to Pinfalls and Passports. For those who don't already know, this is a podcast for people just like you who love the sport of professional wrestling and for members of our WWE Travel Community Discord server. Not a member of the WWE Travel Community? Come join one of the fastest growing pro wrestling communities online. You can find the Discord invite link here in the podcast bio. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Pinfalls and Passports, on X at Pinfalls and Pass, and TikTok at Pinfalls under. And please don't forget to follow and subscribe to this podcast to keep up to date with all the things involving the world of professional wrestling. My name is Dork Chop. This is Pinfalls and Passports, and joining me for this EW edition of the show is Mira.
It's been a little minute. Some things have occurred. We
Things
had a
occurred 5 minutes
grandson.
after we finished.
Yo, isn't that crazy? That was nuts last week. But we're gonna start off. We're gonna get into Collision. Collision. Here we go. Here goes my page messing up. But Collision that occurred on July 30th in Detroit, in the same place that Dynamite took place, and the big shock. Less than a minute of starting, Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Elliott made their AEW debut. They said they are all elite. They immediately got involved. Who was it? I think it was Brain Plan. He was like, "It'd be crazy if they joined the Bang Bang Gang." I said, "No, let's have them. Let's have them stay over there since But they helped the Bang Bang Gang. They fended off the Death Riders and the Dogs after Juice Robinson was pinned by Willer Yuta in an 8-man tag. So I'm going to assume the Motor City Machine Guns will probably be utilized more on Collision for right now. If they are involved in anything at all in, it's probably going to be alongside the Bang Bang Gang and all them, and it'll be something like that. But it's great to see them make their AEW debut. The crowd was
Yeah.
in all. They were very happy, they were very relieved. I know there was speculation and people were like, "Where is he going? Well, where are they going?" And I was like, "More than likely, it's probably AEW." But it's
And
really cool to see.
yeah, and then not only that, but then having them debut in their hometown, it seemed academic.
Yeah, it just made
It was
sense.
it was a little surprising to not see them do it on Dynamite, but seeing the reaction they got after they debuted 5 minutes after we finished recording last week was just great, and hopefully they get utilized better than they
I
did
hope
in
so.
the last few months that they were in WWE because quite frankly they deserve better. They deserve so much better.
Yeah, I really do, but I was very, very excited that they made made their way to where they, I guess, not should be, but I feel like they'll be utilized a little bit better.
Yes.
So that's fingers crossed, toes crossed, more to come there. In the main event on Collision, Will Ospreay does defeat Daniel Garcia with the Hidden Blade. This is payback from the night prior. Garcia was pretty much like, "Yo, like you can't come at us like this." Da 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 da. So it was just another check mark for Mr. Will Ospreay to keep his momentum going in the All In, and then you had the Demand also on the card. They had a trios title match because they had won that the night before, and they defended their belts against the Rascals, which they did retain. And then the only other thing like worth noting is that Kyle Fletcher and Mike Bailey had like a really heated face to face building towards their Grand Slam title match. But Collision, it was really solid, riding off the high of what happened that night prior with Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Willow, and all of that. I was like, okay, this was a great show to have, and you kicked it off the right way with the Motor City Machine Guns making their debut. So that was really
Yeah,
cool.
I was really stoked to see them though, and like I said, I hope they get utilized better than they did in their dying days in WWE because they came in
Yes.
hot,
Yep.
um, and then they just kind of disappeared after a while. So I hope that does not happen to them here. But I'm also pretty stoked about the Continental Cup. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
So on Dynamite, on Collision, they kept saying the AEW Continental Cup, and I'm like, okay, so we have the classic in the winter, and then I'm guessing the cup is going to be something for the summer, which cool. I'm like, but what does that mean exactly? So I wanted to break this down for everybody that how I'm understanding it, it's going to be 16 participants. John Moxley, who I guess has quote unquote vacated that. AEW Continental Championship. Like he is the champion, but again, he could end up at the end of this not being the champion. So, but you had John Moxley, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, Nigel McGuinness, Kazuchika Shibata, David Finlay, Ace Austin, Jay White, Matt Sydal, Jack Perry, Jake Doyle, Brian Cage, Hero, Claudio Castagnoli, and Eddie Kingston. And I was very pleased to see Eddie Kingston's name. I feel like I haven't seen
He's
Eddie
still around.
Kingston. Yeah, he's still around. Haven't seen his name be mentioned in a while. So I was like, okay, cool. But the format and the rules, there are 16 competitors with the vacant AEW Continental Championship, John Moxley, but it's on the line. There's no fixed bracket. Matchups are set at random. It's a blind draw at each stage.
So essentially, what you're saying is they'll set the matchups at the round, and then the winners will then be blindly drawn in the next round. So you could wind up having heel versus heel, face versus face in
Yeah,
each round. That's actually pretty cool. Instead of like being able to predict where the tournament's going to go based on the bracket.
yeah, I think that's like the one part that intrigues me a lot. I'm like, okay, so if this is going to be blind base and there's no, you know, no bias there, quote unquote, I think it'll be really interesting to see. So it's the same no outside interference rule as a Continental Classic, but unlike the Classic, there are no time limits, and every
Really?
match must produce a decisive winner. There are no draws. So the 8 first round winners will have their next opponent decided by another blind draw. And then the semifinals will take place in Glasgow, Scotland. And then the final is happening at All In. And the winner will become the AEW Continental Champion and they will take home the cup. So I'm super excited to see how this pans out. It could be anything. What I did find interesting is that you have the Don Callis family in there. You have the conglomeration versing like their own folks. You had the Don Callis family versing their own folks. The Bang Bang Gang. You got the Dogs. Moxley trying to win his belt back. So you're going to see some feuds either start or
Yeah.
progress while in this tournament as well. So I'm
And you
very
got Nigel McGuinness in this tournament. Holy cow! I'm looking at
yes.
some of these matchups, and I'm like, "Hmm,
Yeah, so
this,
I'm like super excited to see what comes of this. So this weekend, they're starting the first round matches. You have Orange Cassidy versus Matt Sydal, Claudio Castagnoli and Ace Austin, Eddie Kingston and Jake Doyle. So this is going to be happening on Collision, and then the next set of matches will occur in Las Vegas, Nevada at Dynamite, and that's going to be Jay White versus David Finlay. So this is going to continue that Bang Bang Gang and the Dogs feud. And then you have John Moxley versus Jungle Jack Perry. And August 15, this other or the final set of 8 matches will be occurring. So this is going to be on Collision. You got Hurtacero versus Brian Cage, which Don Callis family matchup. Roger Strong versus Kyle Riley, a conglomeration matchup. And then Nigel McGuinness versus Shibata. So this is gonna be really, really interesting to see how they all get along, especially those in the same faction and all of that. So
oh, this is going to be a phenomenal tournament just based on what I've seen so far from the first round matchups. Although, I
mhm,
mean, I'm surprised they're giving us Jay White versus David Finlay on free television.
that's what I'm
Uh,
saying.
uh okay. You got Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. I mean, how many? Hello, Black and Gold NXT. How you doing? And then
Oh,
Matt Sydal,
oh,
deep cut,
I was
and
waiting for
or
you to say it. It was one of us who
uh,
was gonna say it.
yeah, I know. But yeah, no, these are some great matchups, and they have some great participants in this tournament. I'm looking forward to classics. I mean, but when you say there's going to be no time limits, no draws, holy crap! We could get some 1 hour bangers here. Could.
Yeah, or damn near to it. So I mean, I'm like super stoked because I feel like the finals match I don't even know. I know Moxley's probably gonna be one of those that make it to the
Yeah,
final, obviously, cool. But I'm like, I feel like this final match could be like a 40-minute banger. Like, I don't know. Like, it could be really good, it could be short, it could be anything. So I don't know. I'm very excited to see what is to come.
definitely. And speaking of exciting. How about that AEW Dynamite and Grand Slam Mexico?
What a grand slam it was. I think this show was knocked out of the park. It really flowed
Mm.
beginning to end. I think it went over the 2.5 hours they advertised. I think
Yeah,
it
it
went to
did.
damn near 11.
I finished
Uh,
watching it this morning.
I don't think this is quite going to end at 10:30, but sure, Tony Khan, but no,
It did
it was a
not.
really good show. It was a really good show. The crowd was hot. Once they heard Adam Copeland come out, that was the end of it because it was the opening match was Adam Copeland, Christian Cage, and the Young Bucks versus not the Don Callis family, sorry, the other ones, the Death Riders of John Moxley, Pac, Willer, Yuta, and Daniel Garcia. This was the opener in a statement match ahead of the tag champs Wembley date with the Bucks. The Death Riders did come out on top here, giving John Moxley's crew the real momentum heading into All In. And you have the mudding between Cope and Cage and the Bucks dynamic, but they did keep it civil. They did coexist as partners last night. And, they have to move on and persevere going towards All In.
Yeah, a few observations from this match. For one, I love that Christian gave Marina a low blow.
Yes,
That was hilarious.
I
Playing
wasn't
into the
expecting that.
yeah, well, he's an asshole. What do you want from him?
Yeah.
And then and and then the teasing of the tension between the Bucks and Cope and Cage was also very well done. It was a subtle kind of thing, kind of like what happened with Bret Hart and Owen Hart at Survivor Series all those many moons ago, that eventually blossomed into that intense rivalry. It started subtle, and then they were like, okay, we're fine, okay, we'll be, we're cordial, we'll be friendly, and then it
Mhm.
just exploded into this nasty rivalry that culminated in multiple championship matches, a 5-star match at SummerSlam that year. So if they can take what they did there, like, and apply the same formula, you've got the recipe for a classic tag team rivalry. I don't think we're going to get quite as long of a rivalry as we got with Bret and Owen, obviously, but the seed's been planted for intensity to ratchet up, and for a classic to occur.
Oh, I'm super excited for their match at All In.
Same.
I'm like, who was it that mentioned it in the chat today? I think it was Pig. What was it, Pig, or was it someone mentioned in the chat? I'm not sure if it was Josh or if it was both Joshes, actually, Superman or Flying Pig. They're both named Josh. Damn it! But I think it was one of them that said that they think that the Death. No, not the Death. I keep saying the Death Rider. I don't know why they have Death Rider on the brain, but the Young Bucks will go over, and then
Oh,
we'll
right.
get
That was a
and then we'll
Superman.
get yeah, and then we'll get I guess the debut of Kofi and Austin Creed. So I'm like, I'm here for it. If
I'm
that's
here
what
for the
happens
New
from
Day and the
this,
Young Bucks, definitely.
listen, I'm like, if that's what's happening, cool. If that's not what's happening, cool. Because I'm just gonna enjoy the graps that I'm gonna be set for. But
We're
no,
getting
I
dream
think
graps in the tag team division.
that's what
So,
I'm saying. I'm like, we're already there. Like, I
yeah,
wouldn't have
exactly.
thought we would ever get
Can't
this type
complain.
of match. But then following that, we had Andrade versus Commander versus Tommaso Ciampa. So this was the Casino Gauntlet #1 spot qualifier. I didn't realize that it was a triple threat match. I thought it was just going to be Andrade at first, and then I was like, oh, I thought this was like a national championship match actually. And then I was like, oh shit, no, this is for the I'm like, duh, Samara, duh. It's for the Casino Gauntlet. It took me a minute to realize. I was like,
It
all right, cool.
happens. It happens. We all have our moments. But it was, I think the things that initially struck me were, I get that you're in Mexico, but why with the flag Tommaso Ciampa? Why? You don't need that kind of
He was
heat, do
he
you?
was he was I think he wanted the heat, and I think that was honestly he needed it a little bit because I'm like, well, they're obviously still gonna boo him, but if he had
Hmm.
the American flag, they're definitely gonna boo him even more.
Yeah.
And then you have Andrade, he got a warm reception. Commander got a warm reception.
How you
So
know?
I'm like, how you know? But the match itself, Andrade and Commander showed off their athletic ability to the highest peak, in my
Oh,
opinion. This is
goodness
by far.
gracious.
I'm like, they were going through it. Ciampa even he had some good spots in the match as well. He was taunting the crowd and he blindsided Commander. It was a really great match.
Didn't
Commander
he?
he did the tightrope,
Yes, he did. The tightrope into the
yeah, the
Hurricane
tightrope walk.
Rana. Yep.
Yes. I was like, that was really freaking cool. A Meteora came from, I think, was it Andrade, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep.
But it was just like, it was just a lot of back and forth. And then
Yeah.
Andrade sneaks the win with the DM on Commander.
After the psycho knee or whatever,
Yeah,
no, Commander hit a beautiful splash. Like, you know,
and he takes
another
advantage of it.
yeah, Andrade took advantage of it, hit the DM on Commander, and there's your win. Commander continues to impress me, by the way. In my limited exposure to him, I am just like in awe of what that man can do in the ring. He is incredible.
He's probably on my list of like one of the wrestlers of the year for me so far. Since I want to say since the beginning of this year, he's been showing out. I'll even say the end of last year as well, but he's been showing out a lot. AEW's been utilizing him a lot as well. So I'm excited to see what is there to come. I'm like, if you're gonna put him in the casino gauntlet, even if he's not number one or number two, they see a lot of potential for him. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a huge honor in that, in my opinion. But post match, when Andrade wins, he's celebrating, speaking to the crowd in English and Spanish, and promising to win the world title.
For
But
all
then,
Latinos and all and for Mexico, and just a beautiful speech.
yeah,
Ruined by the return of MJF.
I kind of popped though. I was like, oh shit, I'm like he's coming back. But I thought it would be like for not for the national championship, but just taking what Andrade has in that sense, because he's like,
Well, he took
I
one
don't want
thing
you
that
back in.
Andrade has.
Oh yeah, he took back his Dynamite Diamond ring and
Yeah.
basically attacked Andrade with his Triple B belt and beating Andrade down and basically saying that he's the true champion and he's gonna fight for the number 2 spot next week. And MJF, he's inserting himself into this big thread. Okay. MJF is basically like, I was robbed of my main event. This is a sham. This is bullshit. He was saying they're talentless and all this other stuff. He was just going in on them. Typical MJF stuff there, but
Yeah, this
inserting
is very
himself into
typical.
this, yeah, super typical of him. But like him inserting himself into this and saying that he's the real champion that was robbed at beach break, and this sets him up for a potential cash in if he does go back to back winning this casino gauntlet. This is going to be, honestly, I think quarter 3 and quarter 4 is safe for AEW. I think with MJF in the picture, and if he were to win that again, I think they would be cooking. Even if it's Andrade, you know how sly MJF is. He'll get people to do things and get them into these situations that he could end up with this contract even if he didn't originally win it. So I'm just very excited to see what
Yeah,
happens
I'm very
following all
excited.
this.
I'm very excited to see it too. I mean, I was really hoping that when you throw in a beatdown like MJF gave to Andrade after that match, and then having him announce that he's part of the gauntlet match. Because at first I was thinking, if you're going to have MJF attacking, why do you have Andrade in the Casino Gauntlet match to begin with? But we have seen in the past that Tony Khan likes to use the Casino Gauntlet match like the WWE uses the Royal Rumble as a place to start, continue, or end feuds.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so I think we're going to get a long rivalry between Andrade and MJF, where they constantly screw each other over. How that plays out, we have yet to see, but I'm here for it, and I hope it's as good as I think it's going to be.
Same. I'm super excited to actually see another Casino Gauntlet live. I feel like before, I think when I was live, Christian had won, and
Oh
that kind of
wow!
just fell flat. Yeah, and that kind of just like fell flat in my opinion. So I'm like, I want to see someone like a Andrade, like a underdog to main event win or something
Mhm.
like that, or even if it's another talent I wouldn't even thought of. So I'm just very excited to see that live again. But next on Dynamite or on Grand Slam edition of Dynamite,
This was
we
a
had
pay per view. Let's call it what it was,
yeah, it was it
basically,
was it was a pay-per-view. We had
for
Willow
free.
Nightingale for free on HBO Max, and if you had myaew.com, it was on there. But yeah, our next match was Willow Nightingale and the Brawling Birds, so our baby faces, versus Mercedes Monet and the Divine Dominion. So this 6 women was telling 2 different stories that'll be happening at Wembley. Monet and Nightingale are going for the world title, whereas the Birds and Divine Dominion are seeking tag team gold in that
Yeah,
sense there. Megan
And
Bayne dominated really early.
mhm.
Windsor and Hayter was going at it as well. It was just a lot of powerhouse women in this match because you had Nightingale, Jamie Hayter, Alex Windsor, like all of them are very much powerhouse women. And then you have Mercedes Monet, who isn't as powerhouse, like she's not a powerhouse, like she's not built like that, but she can go.
Yeah, she can go with the big dogs when she needs
Yeah,
to.
so I was kind of impressed. I'm like, girl, but you about to pick a Willow? Oh, okay, we gonna see how this
Oh,
go
yeah.
then.
Yeah, the suplexes she was hitting on Willow, holy cow.
Yes, I'm like, oh shit. But Willow ultimately outsmarts Monet and gets a backslide for the win.
Most
And with
dangerous move in
this,
pro wrestling.
yo, and with this earns the Brawling Birds a match at All In against Megan Bayne and Divine Dominion. Which I'm like, okay, yes, but like what I thought it would have to be against Megan and Lena directly, but I see what they're doing here. You
Yeah,
get the pin for Willow, so she has this confidence, and then you get the match for the tag title. So can't really complain.
yeah. I mean, they're starting to fill out the card nicely here.
Hmm.
Even though we've been building towards Brawling Birds versus Divine Dominion for weeks now, with all the brawling segments, with Hayter and Windsor roughing up the bar patrons, and
Do you
then
think
the
they'll turn it
Divine.
into like a pub match or
I
something like
don't
that,
think
or some type
so.
of street fight? Because I feel like you need something. I
A
mean, you don't
gimmick.
have to. Yeah, like I feel like they've been hinting at this for weeks. That's why I'm like, you think they could possibly do like a gimmick match or something, or like a
It's
no
it's in
DQ?
it is possible. I don't think it's necessary. I think
Yeah,
the first go round should always be just a straight up tag team versus tag team or one on one matchup in a rivalry.
yeah,
You bring in gimmicks to enhance and keep people interested in a feud. I think the Brawling Birds versus Divine Dominion should not have a stipulation at all in. And then if you're going to continue it,
sure.
then you bring the stipulations in.
Yeah, at All Out and following pay-per-views that they have. Yes, yeah, so that makes sense there. And then this was the match of the night, in my opinion. This Kyle Fletcher versus Speedball Mike Bailey for the AEW International Championship. Cooked. They cooked. I
How many
cooked.
times did I say, "Oh God, that looked horrifying," or "Oh
What
God,
was it?
that looked like it hurt"?
He threw Speedball into the fucking barricade and his head hit like bounced off, right? Like
Yeah, like
what
a
the
lawn dart
fuck?
he threw him, and was a permanent fixture in the arena. It wasn't like something that could give and like let him fall
Yeah.
forward. No, that
But
was like a permanent wall. And so I was like, ugh. And then the
Bailey
backflip onto
strikes
the
were
stairs.
hmm
Yeah, and
Bailey
Bailey
strikes
getting
are
the worst of
really
it.
lethal,
Yes,
but Bailey did take a lot of the offense from Fletcher. But
Bailey
Bailey
got
did have
straight up
some
punished.
but Bailey did have some, he did his damnedest in my opinion. I think he
This
did a
was a
good job in that. I think he is a future champion, singles
mhm.
champion in AEW. I just don't know when that time will be. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but
I'll say
our
this right now. This was a brutal, brutal match. I mean, the by far the most brutal of the three matches that Fletcher and Bailey have had this
true.
year.
That's very
Um,
true.
they demonstrate excellent in ring chemistry together, and anytime they want to go back to this is okay with me.
'Cause I know they had the TNT title match. They had another type like another match in between there, and then this one here. So I'm like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? Like I feel like Speedball does deserve a spot on the card. I just don't know where we
Mhm.
place him at, but I'm ready for it whenever that is and whatever that is.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Because Kyle Fletcher's based on what we saw at the end of the match after he had very little time to celebrate winning. It feels like he's got somebody else in mind for All In.
yeah, and I think that's Mr. Okada. But we'll see. We'll see in the next few weeks if they build that right. But
Yeah,
following that, we had Okada and Kevin Knight and Hero of the Don Callis family versus Mystico, Chris Jericho, or Lionheart.
Corazon
And
de Leon.
yes, in Darby Allen. I was like, why do I see all this skin on Pop Up tonight? Like, where are your pants? Like, I don't want to see all. I'm like, okay, but
I love it when you call him Pop Pop. It's
I'm
so
just like,
funny.
I'm just like, okay, cool. This is cute, but it was very just like a lucha style match.
I love the
The
crowd
crowd,
singing along to Mystico's theme.
Yeah,
That was
same. I was getting
great.
ready to say that too. I was like, yo, the crowd was just enjoying it. They sang to Judas as well. That they were just in for it. The baby
Yeah.
faces do pick up the win here, which made sense. Mystica was home. Darby Allen is hot as ever, and they like Chris Jericho over there. So I mean, it just made sense.
That's crazy. No, they had some really intense spots here too, like the when Mystico went for the tope and he wound up getting drop kicked by Okada as it on his way out the ring, or Pop catching Kevin Knight with the Judas effect as he's coming in for the coast to coast drop kick. I mean, there was some tough spots in this match, and yet they still delivered, and then of course Jericho coming off of the top rope, at his age. I mean, say what you will about how old he is, he
He's
still
still
can go.
moving. Yeah, he's
He's still
still moving.
moving.
So I ain't upset with him. I'm just like, brother man,
It is time to go. Ric
it's
Flair had
time.
a
But
he's had a longer career than Ric Flair, I think.
yeah, because he started when he was like what 14, 15, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So hey, all
yeah.
power to him. I'm excited to sing Judas in the stadium. So I'll take it. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. But following that, we had heavy hitters. We had two heavy hitters, and on the women's side, we had Statlander versus Persephone. Mm, mm,
Oh,
kind
Persephone
of
is a
upset.
great talent.
Ish, yeah, I wish the match was a little bit longer, but it was hard. It was hard hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Both women presented really powerful. The finish came from outside forces. It wasn't anything that the women did themselves, because you had Persephone being attacked by Thunder Rosa ringside, and then you had Sheeta blasting Statlander and with the belt, and then that's how Persephone steals the win. And then Maya World comes out and high end to try to make the save, but the damage is already done. I'm just like, okay, so I think it might be a multi women's match, maybe for the TBS title going towards Arlen, but we haven't really seen much of anything as of yet for Maya World. So hopefully next week we'll see a little bit more about where that's going to go. As far as Chris Statlander, I guess she is not done with Sheeta at all. I thought she was going to be done with her in the street fight that happened in Philly, but I guess not. We're going to probably progress it a little bit more, and
Ma'am.
Persephone her focus is probably going to be Thunder Rosa and CMLL. So I'm kind of excited for all of these women and Maya World and Hyan. I'm like, yo, like y'all have like the world in your hands. No pun intended there, but I'm just like, if we're able to keep this momentum for y'all, it'll be great.
Yeah, I came away impressed mostly by Persephone's
Same.
ability. Oh my God, this woman is a genuine star in the making,
Her
and
presence.
just her presence, her look, the way she moves in the ring, her the way she pulls off moves, it's all great. And I again another performer I come away from impressed every time I watch them in the ring.
Definitely agree there. This
Yeah.
was probably this wasn't my favorite match of the night, but I see what we're doing here. Is this was the demand Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona versus Heyman Adam Page, Brodito, and Brody King. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That is their name. And this is for the AEW World Trios Championship. So to get to this, there was a title change. That means Demand only held these belts for 9 days. I
So they
don't
Sami
like,
Zayned it.
yeah, or I think it was 7 days actually. I'm sorry. I
Seven
was, yeah,
actually.
yeah, 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 yeah. It was 7 days. So I don't like when they like take the belts off an established trio or like a faction group, in my opinion, because this is like the good, the bad, and the ugly is a group that was just thrown together in that sense.
Brodito's an actual tag team, and then Hangman has tagged with them
Right.
before. So it's
Yeah,
not
and
like the worst.
but it's just like I felt like the demand could have done a little bit more, but I think for the star power of it, the crowd loves Bandito, they love Brody King, and obviously they love Hangman Adam Page, and Hangman needs something to do since he's not going for that world title at this point anymore.
Right.
Unless he can get uncursed by Danhausen or something, or take it away. However, because Danhausen, he's been uncursing football teams and things like that. So, he might be able to call up a friend and get uncursed by a friend. You never know.
That friend's name has to be Tony Khan.
But no, no, it definitely got the good, the bad, and the ugly going in the All In as the AEW World Trio Champion.
Well, let's not assume that. I mean, the way they're
Well,
turning over these trios.
currently they are. I want to point out who was it? I think it was Toa Leona. He had a spot in the match, and all I said was, "Holy fuck!" I think it was it.
Was it all three on his shoulders at once or something
Yes,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah, 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 yeah. It was all three competitors on his shoulder, and he was able to do like a Samoan drop, and I thought that was just like a crazy spot there. But
That's insane.
that was I'm like, yo, like this dude is strong as shit. I see I feel like the crowd is, he's getting over a little bit with the crowd outside of him being
Hmm.
paired with, Ricochet and them. But I think he's starting to get over a little bit. But he's a good powerhouse to have on your roster.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna see what these trio titles do going into All In. I'm very curious to see where this goes. I'm thinking in my head if we can get a Samoa Joe back and you got the ops, that could be a match there. You
Lethal
could do
twist,
lethal twist, you got the demand. So like I feel
the
like there's stuff that can happen. It
conglomeration.
should like there's so many factors here, and I'm kind of excited to see what they do. But I'm also like, are we just gonna hot potato these belts? Which is not a problem. It's just like just have it mean something in that sense.
Have it serve an overarching story between the teams that are contesting for it,
Hmm.
because you know I've lived through an era where tag belts changed hands very frequently, but it served an overarching narrative.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, you see five teams within a month win the tag titles in 1999, and it just does something to you.
We'll see.
Um,
Hopefully there's something like that though.
yeah, yeah. No, I came away like a little bit upset because I thought that Ricochet was going to have a long run with these belts. And I thought that was the goal of them putting them on the demand, was to give Jay kind of a way to kind of showcase his being an asshole
That's what I
more.
thought too. I thought
Uh,
that too.
but then again, having it and losing it could make him an even bigger one.
Yeah. And he's an
Uh,
Eagles fan, so I'm like, yeah, he can be an asshole, all
Bald.
right. What?
Main event time, though.
Mhm.
Holy cow. Mexico City street fight. Will Ospreay, Mark Davis. No outside interference. Bloody brutal brawl using chairs, barbed wire, and a tire. And it countered a Styles Clash attempt from Mark Davis, then went on the back on the attack with the diving elbow strikes before wrapping barbed wire around Davis's neck for the hidden blade to finish it. Ospreay's hot streak into his Omega title match at Wembley. Your winner, obviously, Will Ospreay.
So we couldn't just have a normal match in Mexico, huh?
Not a
We're
fan.
we're less than well, today we are what, 24 days away, and you want to have a street fight in Mexico with barbed wire and tires and chairs. Oh my. I'm just
And
like,
a hoss like Mark Davis that can throw you around like it's nobody's business.
that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, Willie, Bill, go, whatever you want to be called today. I'm just like, can we
Bruv.
next, bruv, like, let's not and say that we did. But this was a great match from start to finish. I really did enjoy it. There was no outside interference, which was great, and
They
you got
bled
your
buckets.
decisive win. Yes, they yeah, they was bleeding. I looked at Mark Davis' face. I said, yeah, yeah, brother, you bladed. Yeah, I'm like, I know you bladed.
A
So
little too hard,
um
son.
I'm just like, okay. But no, I was very again, I think Grand Slam Mexico was a great card. I wish I could be there, but I wish I could have been there rather, but it was
Yeah.
such a good card.
Yeah, I feel like was Scarlett was saying that like that Arena Mexico is one of the four biggest venues that a fan can experience as
Yeah.
in terms of wrestling wise. And if the crowd is always like that, then I can see why. The
Yes.
crowd last night was amazing, electric from start to finish. Didn't matter what was going on, they were into it, and they really enhanced the quality of the matches that were happening. I do tend to agree with you though, in terms of Will Ospreay. He needs to pump the brakes a little bit, because if he keeps doing this every week, he's going to burn out for All In and come up short on the biggest night of his life.
Yeah, and I know they're trying to like build a story like the baby face. He's going through all these obstacles to get to the big one, and I get that, but I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
let's just, ease it a little bit, have a little match or a promo or a segment, just something else.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it was
No
it was
violence,
super
please.
entertaining. super entertaining. And then I just wanted to note that the card for All In is starting to shape up. Obviously, we have our Owen Hart Cup winners having their world title shots. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Willow Nightingale, and Mercedes Moné. We also have the men's world tag team titles of Cope and Cage versus the Young Bucks, and we have the men's casino gauntlet that was announced, and
Yep.
that was that's for that future title shot. Andrade has the number one spot. MJF, he's trying to get that number two spot next week,
Probably will
and
too.
more than likely, I foresee that. And then, he could be seen as a wild card in this gauntlet match. And, whoever wins this Kenny and Will match, go from there. And it was officially announced on commentary, but it hasn't been officially announced with a graphic as of today, August 6th. But as we previously stated earlier, the during the Grand Slam episode of Dynamite, the Divine Dominion, since they now have a blemish on their record, they will be facing the Brawling Birds at All In. So this is going to be a really good match as well, I believe. I think if they give these women the time on the main card, I had to
Hate in your
clarify
voice when you
there.
said that.
I had to clarify there, but if they give these women time on the main card, it'll be a banger. I
Mhm.
know Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter will be home, so you got your hometown heroes there. And when I met Jamie Hayter back in March, I was like, "You're gonna be on the card." She's like, "I don't know yet." I said, "You're gonna be on this card. You're going home. You're healthy. You're ready to go." I'm like, "Girl, just manifest it. You're gonna be on the card," and she is. So I'm just happy. I'm
Yeah.
just really happy to see her in action because I think the last
Yeah.
time she was injured, she was out.
She was
Um,
out for All In Wembley last time, and
yeah,
just a little side note, words of encouragement that you had for Jamie Hayter. What I said to Megan Bain and Lena Cross when I met them last Friday was something along the lines of "Hi." So good on you for getting more than a sentence out.
no, but with Jamie, she was really nice though. But no, I'm just like super excited. This card is shaping up. We'll be in London in less than 2 weeks, 3 weeks at this point. And
Yeah, I fly in
AEW's
2 weeks,
been
and you fly in
yeah,
3.
yeah, and I'm like, AEW's been keeping the heat. I feel like with keeping people interested. I'm curious to see how they sell at All In. From what I've seen, they're selling a lot of tickets. I think they're nearing 37,000 if I'm not mistaken.
That's less than
So
half
I'm
the
like,
stadium, though. Still.
well, they only set up for 44. So
Oh,
I
really?
guess yeah, yeah. So they would
So
hit
they're
their
not
point, I
going for the
think.
whole thing.
Mm-mm. I think if they hit that 44, that's it's a success for them. But I think as of right now, it's like, damn, like close to 37.
So
The
yeah,
last I
it's like
checked.
5 tickets
Hmm.
distributed. Current setup is 44,091, according to WrestleTix.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm very curious to see how they fill it up, what the setup is like, what the stage looks like. I know they're gonna have pyro galore.
Hmm.
So I'm just like excited to be in the atmosphere as I pretty much continue to say each week for y'all. But no, I think we have a lot of feuds going into All In, a lot of feuds
Hmm.
coming out of All In, especially if it's done right.
Yep.
And I'm just hoping that all my people win in my head. So we're gonna see how this goes. But no, I'm super
Yeah.
excited.
No, I'm super excited as well. I mean, you're telling me that I get to see all of these great matches, and I get to go to London to do it. I'm in. I'm
You
all
know, I
in.
yeah, no, I can't even complain. Like, what I'm saying? Like you're seeing like legends in here, you're seeing,
Hmm.
young talent as well. So but no, yes. So you have anything
So
else?
far, no, so far there isn't a bad match on the card.
On paper, on paper, it's not a bad match.
I was going for that, yes, but I'm excited. I mean, you know how I was a few months ago with my AEW of the Graps. As I've gotten into it more, I've really appreciated and enjoyed going along on this journey with you, and we're gonna culminate that with a big trip to All In and meet up with the boys and have a good time. And
No.
I'm excited for it. Side note for all of you, our listeners out there, we will be taking a hiatus the week before All In, actually a couple of weeks. So, because your boy is going over early, because
Yeah, he'll be away. He'll be away, y'all.
for a couple weeks. So yeah, but we've got 2 more episodes to go until my All In trip. Uh,
But no.
so let's bring
Any
this
other
one home.
housekeeping? Yeah, is there
And
any other housekeeping, or is it just the hiatus announcement? I think that's it, right?
yeah, I think that's about it for tonight. So, on behalf of all those listening, I thank you. And we have been Pinfalls and Passports.